Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the live crypto trading room. Today is Friday, March the 1st. It is the 1st of March. This is my birthday month. It's also Women's History Month. So shout out to any ladies who are trading cryptocurrency this morning. We've got a fantastic day in the markets, guys. Apologies for the lack of live streams this week. This has been an absolutely crazy week for me, as I'm sure it's been a crazy week for everybody else with Bitcoin reaching these. We can't use the term unprecedented because Bitcoin certainly has been back up here before. But it is just awesome to see Bitcoin where it is right now, seeing what it's doing. And it's just fantastic. It's just great. It's great to be here in this time when we see the prices pumping, to be positioned, to have your portfolio right. It's a great time. It's a great time. So hopefully you guys are doing well in this bull market. Hopefully you guys are making nice profits. But let's dive in. Let's look for some trades, as we are systemic traders. So we are going to be using our systemic process to try to identify profitable trade setups and do well. All right. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the live chat as we proceed. And of course, if you want to support the stream, please become a channel member or like the stream. It helps distribute the content out there to people who have never seen it before. All right, let's get going. Bitcoin on the weekly time frame. Again, we've got our game plan up here. Oh, well, hold on. We don't want to do that. We've got our game plan up here. This is pretty nice and easy. All right, Bitcoin has pretty much made a full retracement. All right, I believe we are at, if we wanted to be really pedantic about it, we have, of course, overcome the 786. I believe we're probably at the 886 right now, if we wanted to be really pedantic. Yeah. So Bitcoin making that full retracement up to the 886. What I've noticed is, 886 is a pretty common retracement either way. We will typically see 886 retracements in scenarios where, for example, price is pumped. And then when we're looking for where it will come back down to, 886 is very common with altcoins. Not so much Bitcoin. Bitcoin is really kind of fond of those aggressive pullbacks to the 236, 318, and then those full golden pocket retracements to the 61865. Those are more common that we would see in Bitcoin and Ethereum. You'll typically see those full 886 retracements. And again, my most common experience with those is not in retracements to the upside. It's in retracements to the downside. And I think that makes a lot of sense. Because Bitcoin is typically a long asset, right? Of course, we do have these terrible bear markets, all right? But if you really just zoom out for the passive investor in Bitcoin, pretty much at any point in time, you've made money if you were just patient. That is really what the definition of sound money can be, or the definition of a sound investment is. Over time, do you tend to make money holding this asset, or do you tend to lose money holding this asset? And overwhelmingly, Bitcoin is a money-making asset. Ethereum is a money-making asset. Other cryptocurrencies, again, hit and miss, but Bitcoin's certainly a money-making asset historically. All right, so Bitcoin's price currently trading at 61,438 on the weekly time frame. Loading up our PTP methodology here. This is just the basic PTP methodology. These are using free indicators that anybody can use and apply to their charts right now. So you guys could watch this stream and you guys could go out and trade exactly how I do. I do use a different strategy for my personal trading, for my daily close style trading. Strategy that is mine to trade and mine to do what I want with. It took a long time to put it together. But this methodology is exactly the same. And it is the methodology that is important, right? It is the process of building objective indicator-based strategies that really is at the core of what we do and the core of what we teach. So here, again, we are using True Strength Index. This is a free public indicator on TradingView. It is a fantastic indicator. This is going to be our initiator. This is going to be entering us into trades. We have our RSI, which is acting as an exit indicator and a confirmer. And then, of course, we have our volatility filter down here for BBWP, which is going to identify when we should be trading, if the environment is right for us to trade. And then if the environment is right, then we use the signals from these two indicators in conjunction with our baseline to determine trend to enter or exit trades. All right, so right now on the weekly time frame, we did get the swing long signal back here on the closing candle of the 23rd of October. And we've basically been swing long ever since. You can see that on this closing candle, the closing candle of October 23rd, we had just come out of a volatility crush. So we know that volatility conditions are right to take a swing long. The RSI was over the signal line on that candle close, so confirmation. And then we got the primary signal from TSI with our fast line, the blue line, crossing over the red line, which is the signal line. So right there, we had a full signal, full stop, and we enter into the position here. If you're following classic PTP methodology for profit taking, at that time, we would have measured out one weekly ATR. We probably would have taken initial profits somewhere in this range. And then we continue to hold the position. We do close that position here in this consolidation range. Why? Because RSI comes down and closes below the signal line. All right, so we would have exited here and then a full re-entry when RSI crosses back above for a continuation trade on the closing week of February 5th. So we are in a swing long on the weekly time frame. Let's just plot out. We can go back with the bar replay mode and figure out, oh, we got to go back one more candle. Excuse me. Jump to. All right, we can just use that to mark off. So this is what the chart would have looked like when on the weekly close when we should have taken our position. And then we just simply use Quadriga to measure out where our first take profit would have been. So we would have been pulling off initial profits. Excuse me. For our weekly time frame, we want to be using a little bit more. There we go. 7, 14, and 21 on the weekly time frames. We do want these big swings. All right. So initial TP then, if we are using a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio on our weekly time frame, initial profit targets will be at 73,951, which we have not hit yet. That's where we would be taking 50% of our profits off the table, and then either taking the rest out, scaling out at 98, scaling out at 124, or just simply waiting until we get an exit signal, whichever occurs first, or one of our fail-safe exits comes in to save us from pain. None of those has happened yet. So again, the swing long is still valid with that initial target of 73,951. Life is good. Again, that is relatively aggressive. You can, of course, be more conservative by using a smaller stop loss and smaller take profit multiples of the average true range. That's completely fine. But again, that's all going to determine on you. Me personally here on the weekly, I do like to use these wider stop losses and take profit targets because we are dealing with such a volatile asset. All right. Yes to crypto. Shout outs to you, my friend, in the chat. Crypto Meister in the chat, sharing some wisdom with us this morning, saying, I have learned my lesson during more than one of these moves. Do not short BTC, only sell and rebuy the pullbacks. Your shorts will get ripped. Yes. Typically, I mean, this is why we use the baseline, guys. This is why we use the baseline, right? If you want to be a successful trader, then you're going to have to niche down, right? I've never met a really successful trader who traded everything all the time. When I talk to successful traders, they have niched down their strategy. They know exactly what assets they want to trade. They know exactly what setups they're looking for, and they exclusively trade those assets and those setups. You have to put the blinders on and you have to niche down, right? You can't be broad. You want to niche down. The riches are in the niches. And one of the things that we do, or of course, one of the big debates is like, well, what kind of trader should you be, right? Because there's many different ways to trade. You could be a reversion to the mean trader. You could be a reversal trader. You could be a trend following trader. And I have experimented and traded all those different methodologies and strategies. I think that they're all appropriate depending on what your personal style is, based on what you are personally can be successful with, and based on like how you're trying to trade, right? Are you trying to trade lower time frames? Higher frequency reversion to the mean strategies that are tool assisted. So a cyborg approach using some form of bot can be very, very helpful for execution and for signaling. On higher time frames, I prefer discretionary trading. All right. Niches get riches. You got that right, Crypto Meister. Happy Friday to you as well, Alex. So again, it's niching down because as a trader, I certainly came into the trading game, and I think a lot of people do come into the trading game thinking that, oh, I'm going to learn all these skills, and then I will therefore, be able to look at any chart and determine a profitable trade. And that's just not the case, right? I've been a trader for almost a decade now. And, if you show me a chart without my indicators that's not in my wheelhouse, I'm not going to know how to trade it, right? I just won't know. I could certainly take a try and I'll probably have a better educated guess than somebody randomly coming in off the streets, but it's probably not going to make me consistent profit because I haven't done the work to optimize it, to strategize it, and determine exactly how I'm going to pull profits out of this, because it really is, it's just strategy, right? So all I'm trying to say is that I've chosen to distance myself from reversal trading. So you're never gonna come on here. And one thing I want to correct this year that I've done in previous years that I don't think has done me a service, and I think that has done the community a service. I'm not really good at calling tops, and I'm not really good at calling bottoms. I'm a trend following trader, so I'm interested in the meat of the trade. So meaning, if we go back over here on the weekly time frame, I'm going to hide drawings so that we can see this a little bit clearly. And I want to show you exactly how my personal strategy using just these indicators on the chart would have done during the previous bull market, so that you guys can kind of see what you will and will not see on this channel and what you can expect and cannot expect from trading with my methodology. So if we go back here to kind of the initial rip up from that consolidation following the 2019 bear market, 2018-2019 bear market, we can see when we get our initial signal here, and that would have been here. On this candle, this would have been the closing candle of May the 4th of 2020. All right, so we get TSI, as you can see, does give us our initial signal there. Hopefully you guys can see that by crossing over the signal line, but we wouldn't have taken this trade. Why? Because volatility did not give us the appropriate signal. We only want to enter into a trending trade after volatility has had a period of reset. We don't want to enter into a trending trade after a period of high volatility. So as we can see here, volatility did come down, and this, of course, we do have traders on the team who specialize and focus on these. You know, price plunges down to the 200 weekly SMA. We get a big spike in volatility here. That's a really good reversal trade. Of course, that's a good entry. And, you know, of course, we do teach traders how to catch those trades and optimize reversal strategies. But my primary strategy is going to be trend following. So we don't have that volatility reset signal that we're looking for. That comes a little bit later in that consolidation period. So now we know we're in the environment to trade. Life's good. And we want to take the next signal coming out of this consolidation area. So we get a volatility expansion with the volatility line crossing over the signal line shortly after that volatility crush. And then TSI is still crossed over the upper line here, so all is well. So we're just waiting for the next signal, and that comes over here when we get our RSI, our confirmation indicator, to cross up and over the signal line. So that occurs right around here, the closing week of the 12th of May, or excuse me, October. So again, we start getting signals in May, but we don't actually take a trade until October. All right, and we kind of just sit all of this BS out. Right, not a lot of money to be made here. So then we do enter on October, and we ride this all the way up, right? We are along the whole way. Of course, we do take 50% profits, probably somewhere down here. And then we ride this all the way up, but we don't exit up here at the top. We don't exit up here at the top. We actually exit out, excuse me, no, we close. Yeah, we close, we take profits here. So we trade from here to here, and then we do re-enter here, and then we close out very shortly thereafter here. All right, so this might even be a losing trade, but we just sit all of this out. We set all of this out. This is absolutely fine. And then we come over here. We're in a bearish trend. We pretty much sit almost all of this out. That we do hop in to a long position here. And we exit over here. So we do make a very slight profit there. But again, the big trade, we caught all of this, right? We caught this movement. We caught a little bit of this movement. We catch just the tail end of this movement. And then as we get over here, price is closing below the 55. Life is good. We want to kind of be looking for shorts now. We've already gotten the short signals. Life is good. And then we actually do take that short right here is where we would take the short. And then we basically ride this all the way down, and we do close out here. So we trade from here to here. We trade it from here to here. So those are the movements we're looking for. I'm not interested in catching the tops. I'm not interested in catching the bottoms. With our trend following system, we just want to get the big moves. And that's what you can expect from this channel. That's what you can expect moving forward. All right, because that's all we need. We just need to catch the big moves, and we need to position such, and we need to take profit in such a way and leave runners in such a way that we, you know, of course, we can never anticipate when something's going to 10x, 20x, 30x. But when we get into altcoins and we're trading in this fashion, this allows us to catch those big moves. Just being patient. We will have, on average, a higher losing rate. So we're lucky to pull in a 60 to 65% win rate with a strategy of this fashion. But that doesn't matter because our profits, when we do catch the good moves, will overcome drawdown. That has been my experience, and that is why I continue to trade in this fashion. All right, so we can get out of replay mode now. Let's get back into current action. Let's give you guys a little bit of that education here. Weekly time frame. Should we be entering long here? Ladies and gentlemen, we should not. And the reason why is because it's just not a technically good area to enter long. We never want to enter on a pump candle. You never want to swing to the long side on a pump candle. Obviously, there are breakout scenarios. There are individuals trading breakout strategies, and we do talk about that. But this is not a breakout candle. This is very much looking like a topping candle. And again, like I said, I'm not going to be calling tops here, so I'm not talking about that. But I'm just saying this is an inopportune candle statistically to enter into a long position. We can see that volatility is now very high. Okay. Volatility is now peaked. And while, of course, we can see price action continue, as obviously we can see over here, the last time volatility redlined, was back in January 2021, and that was very, very close to the top of the market. We had a little bit of consolidation. We had about a month of consolidation following that redlining, and then we had another month of limited upside, and then that was basically the end of the rally, right? 50% correction, way back up, and then that was the end of the rally. Now, we are in the halving year. We are expecting a very bullish dynamic year from BTC. We are also preparing, of course, for a March pullback, because that is historically what we get in this season. We usually get a March pullback. March is usually not a good performing month for BTC. And yeah, so pretty simple. All right, so but what do we need to do right now? All right, well, we've got our indicators suggesting that price could reach 73,000, potentially even 120,000. And if we don't get a massive pullback, that is going to be happening in this trade setup that we currently have in our position for right now. So again, depending on what take profit strategy you guys are using, you guys could be taking profits right now if you're being less aggressive, if you're being a little bit more conservative. And that's just going to depend on your profit taking strategy. 73,000 is where I'm going to be looking to take initial and peel initial profits on this position, unless we get an exit signal from the RSI, which is not happening yet. Alex has a good question. How has your put option strategy changed in light of this week's price action? Again, I'm still sticking to that. I am still using a portion of my capital to continue to build my build my short option strategy right now. I think it is the correct thing to do. That is quite separate to what I'm doing here, and I do use a different system, and I do use a different algorithm for that to kind of determine. But there's also a good element of discretion as well. So I continue to identify when options are cheap. I did stack up on those March 29th expirations down here. So price is gonna, and those were at the money puts. So again, price only really needs to get back down to 42,000 for those to expire break even right now. And of course, if we do have that more dramatic plunge down to 35, then of course those will be printing, and again, we have a month to do that. I think Bitcoin can correct 50% in a month, no problem. But we'll see. So let's take a look at. I actually haven't added anything right now. I probably will be stacking up some puts here in this range, just because we are back at the all-time high. I do want to take a quick look at BVIV though. Let's take a look at BVIV. This is not the chart that we want. This one will be just fine, I suppose. FLTF. So we do want to look at BVIV, and we can also just straight up look at Deribit and see what IV is looking like right now. And this is going to determine how expensive our options are. All right, yeah, IV is at 63.1%. So that's not cheap. It's not expensive. It's kind of right in the middle. We can confirm this with BVIV as well. Wow, that is very large. There we go. Let's get that. Let's go back to crypto fundamentals and take a look, a Gandhi at BVIV. Yeah, BVIV is sitting at 66.70. And if we zoom out and look at the weekly time frame, actually that's pretty high. So volatility is pretty high right now. So options are going to be quite expensive. So downside protection is very expensive right now. All right. So I would probably reduce the number of puts that I buy up at this range just due to the cost. Because it's just not, obviously, protection is going to be expensive when everybody wants it. All right. So it's better to buy it cheaper. So I actually prefer the fact that I bought now out of the money puts. Because I paid a good price for them. Right. So overall, if we do get that plunge, I'll get probably less profits, but I have a higher probability of reaching my break-even price on those options that I bought at a slightly worse price because I paid so little for them. And again, when we're talking about hedging, guys, I always recommend that you don't try to be, I recommend that you don't try to be a finagler. Don't try to, get the cheap. I mean, obviously, pay attention to volatility so that you know macro, like what price you're paying. But when it comes to what option spread you buy, should I buy at the money puts, or if I think price is going down to 30,000 and 30,000 puts are like literally 10% the price that I'm going to pay for at the money puts, get the at the money puts. You pay the price for protection. That gives you a higher probability of success. If you buy those $30,000 strike puts, the probability of you hitting those is extremely low, even though you're going to pay less for them. So it doesn't matter if they're cheap, you're just throwing money away. So don't throw money away. Buy appropriate things. And I think it's best, you get what you pay for. So Okay, so we've got the weekly all figured out. There's no weekly signals. We continue to hold long. Again, if you're a little bit more conservative, you're probably peeling profits right now. There's a discretionary element to this as well because we are so close to the all-time high, and of course, that's just massive psychological resistance. And more often than not, you do expect to see a sell-off or selling pressure build in or come in at those market highs, which we are now reaching back to. So of course, Bitcoin can continue to blast off and tear off here. We are going to continue to hold long to anticipate that and be ready for that. But simultaneously, just again, naturally, you're going to expect that the market's going to start to put up some stiff resistance here. Daily time frame, we'll also be trading the exact same strategy, exact same system here. Again, where did we get long here? Okay, well, we had this long consolidation period. We had this level of volatility crush, and then we actually would have gone long on February 24th. All right, we get the signal there. All right, we are above the 55. Price pulls back, maybe just depending on kind of how you would have eyeballed this. Maybe you close this position out, maybe you don't. All right. So maybe we get in here and we end up closing out, which actually would have been a slight profit. But then, whether or not you closed here and got faked out, or whether you didn't and held, either way, you re-entered here or you held through and re-entered here. All right. Because we have that volatility crush. We're coming out of volatility crush. So we know that we can trade in the direction that our next signal gives us. And we get that signal right here. So either way, one way or the other, getting long either here or here and holding this through. And where do we close out? RSI closes below here. So we are now out of the position. The daily swing long has been closed. We captured this entire movement with our trading strategy. Price is above our baseline, so we're not doing anything right now. There's no need to do anything. We are now looking for pullbacks because since we are above the baseline, we're in long mode. So we are looking for aggressive pullbacks to the vicinity of about 60,000, which is where our daily 21 exponential moving average is. But more importantly and more often, we're really looking for these 55 EMA pullbacks, which would be a pullback to 56,653. This is where we're really looking for to re-enter for swing longs right now. If you're playing pullbacks for that continuation entry strategy, or of course, this is the level you want price to kind of come down to, get that volatility reset to then take the next swing long signal that comes out of that zone. Tricky time in the market. Funding rates are scary. The amount of leverage in the system is insane. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And this is why we trade the way we do, guys. Everybody's really thirsty, really hungry right now. But what have we done? We entered, we caught the movement, we took our profits, and now we wait. We wait for our opportunity to come up. Meanwhile, people who aren't trading with a strategy, who either weren't able to trade this movement or who got sidelined, everybody is coming to the markets right now and like, oh my God, look at this big move. I want to catch the next one. I got to get in right now. Well, you're entering in the worst possible area, time zone. Funding rates are high. Everything is expensive. It's expensive to position now. So again, trading with a strategy and getting those moves is just so refreshing and such a beautiful way to trade. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. I wouldn't do anything else. I would never go back to the days of wondering like, oh my God, what kind of trade should I take? Like, I don't know. Like, is this going to win? Like, bleh. It's just all numbers, man. It's just all math. All right. Okay. Beautiful time. 23 minutes in and life's good. We're getting close to being done with BTC here. Oh, sorry. This is the 4-hour time frame. What in God's name was I talking about? Everything's true there that I said, though. We caught the 4-hour swing. Life's good. Daily time frame. How would we have done this? Going over the daily time frame. Let's see here. We get the volatility crush here. We're still long. So life's good. We just enter on the volatility upswing there. So we would have entered here on the swing long, as you guys know. Price riding up, and we exit the position here. So the daily swing strategy caught this entire move right here. We get that volatility crush right here. Life's good. And so we're going to take the next signal, which comes right here. Daily swing long up, and we're actually still holding the daily swing long. We are redlined here on the daily, so we're definitely not entering. On the daily, we're looking for those pullbacks, aggressive pullbacks to 53,593, and more conservative pullbacks to 48,663 on the daily time frame. And we're just waiting for the RSI to cross and close below the signal line. So this daily swing long that we entered here, we're still in, and we are up 12.83% or about 13% on that trade right there. So life's good. And then everything I said about the 4-hour is obviously applicable. We can even go down and trade this on the hourly. That's totally fine. What do we see on the hourly? Again, we caught this movement here. RSI crossed underneath under here. Get a little bit of a volatility reset, and then we can swing long here. We would have taken this swing long. and exited here. And then and life's all pretty good. On the hourly, we might be set up to swing short. We are at support, so I would be more incentivized to go long. We did have a volatility crush here right now, but then we got expansion to the downside. Volatility did reach low here, but then we got a little bit of expansion to the upside. We need volatility to reset. We need volatility to reset on the hourly. There's really no trade. But if we do end up breaking down, we are threatening to close below the 55 here on the hourly. TSI has been quite bearish. Not only are we trading below the signal line, but we're about to close below the centered zero line as well. And RSI is bearish, back in the bearish control zone here as well. So critical level to hold on the hourly, guys, for today is going to be 60,941. Once we close an hourly below that, then we start to kind of get set up for hourly swing shorts. We'll take that when we get to it. Tyler, good morning to you as well. Daily volatility is pegged. Might get another move up on price action still, but probably not much more. All-time high and then pullback. I mean, discretionarily, that's what really makes sense. Of course, we could. Bitcoin's very bullish right now, so we never want to discount that. We can, of course, blast through all-time highs. But, I mean, just statistically, classically, we would expect to see some resistance build up here, and potentially the market favor shorts. Liquidations right at the hourly 55. Yep, so we got the liquidation zone directly below us. So again, our intraday kind of reversal strategy would want to dictate that we want to kind of be taking longs out of there. But our hourly swing strategy, which again, I kind of recommend, you always want to just start off with one strategy. You don't want to get to where I am immediately, where you have multiple strategies running simultaneously. I do require bots to assist me with those. But just stick to one strategy, get good at it, and then you can begin to branch out and start to catch other parts of them. Like I am currently experimenting right now with a higher frequency trading reversal system right now on the lower time frames, like the 1 minute and the 15. But that's taken lots and lots and lots and lots of planning. Thank you, Crypto Meister. Yeah, Tyler uses a completely separate account for each strat. That's a good way to do it, right? And I like that centralized exchanges have kind of moved towards sub accounting, so that you can, manage that all nicely. And, 3 commas or, 3 commas gives you a nice dashboard if you guys are using 3 commas to automate or semi-automate a lot of your strategies. All right, so yeah, hourly, we did have a little bit of volatility crush. Again, volatility is right in the middle now, so I'm not as super juiced up to take a short. But again, that's just what the indicators would be telling us to do if we do end up breaking that 60,941. So let's go ahead and set an alert for that. And BTC 1 hour short. And this is going to be BTC less than and we're going to do a pop-up, not send webhook, and we'll do play sound. All right, so we got that alert set. So let's watch for that on the hourly. On the 15, what do we got going on here? Let's see. Yeah, so yeah, again, on the 15, this is pretty nice and clear. Prices come down to the 200 SMA. We are trading below the baseline, so this would set up a nice kind of intraday potential trade right now. But volatility kind of peaked right now, and we really want volatility to come back down and set up a move for us. So, yeah, what's the last signal that we would have gotten? Something like this. Yeah, I mean, the 15 is... Yeah, I mean, we've got our liquidations right here. And then, of course, we do have previous support right down here at 59,937. So, We'll see if on the 15, if price is able to break above our moving average cluster right now, if we face resistance. But I could see movement up and then come down, hitting the liquidations, getting price to come to around 60,653 and potentially even a wicks down to 59,949, and then a movement back up to the 200 to reconfirm that as resistance, and then price down, and then price down. Tyler's okay, so we see a wick to the low 70s to really sucker in retailers, and then actually see the halving dump of 40% to ramp up the pain. I think that sounds quite correct. All right, so I'm not seeing anything again, there's really nothing to do here right now. The only thing that we could potentially do is, of course, kind of load up our intraday system and see if we have any kind of trades like that. Yeah, just price coming down to the 200. We got pretty stiff resistance at 61,859. Yeah, I mean, because we're blasting through a low volume node right now. We come up here and we've hit resistance multiple times. It does look like price wants to break to the upside here. Not gonna lie. Yeah, like I said, I think price does want. It does look like price lower time frame doesn't want to break to the upside here. All right, so we hit the 200 SMA, the 1 minute 200 SMA on the 1 minute. Thou shalt not counter trade the macro. So let's see here. Let's see. See if we can get past this at 61,889. There's like $100 trade on the table right now, but it's only 0.25%. So again, this is not worthy of a manual trade. This is only worthy of, you would need a robot to catch this. I am currently experimenting with about 0.25% profit targets on my LTF strategy. I like the confluence between the hourly 55 and liquidations. Plan too long a sweep of the liquidations and see if it bounces. Yeah, so you're basically looking for a failure of this movement right here. Rejection at 61,889, basically confluent with the 200 small in the minute, and then a dive down into that liquidation zone. So we can bring. Did I hide the drawings? No. Yeah, we can actually update our liquidation zones. Let's go get our level 2 data from CoinGlass, because we know this is where price wants to go. All right, so yeah, price has some liquidations at 61,191. So what did I say? Did I say 61? That doesn't seem right. 61,911. Jesus. All right, so let's 61,911. All right, so we do have some, yeah, so we have our first liquidations at 61,911. And then where do our liquidations start? Our liquidations bundle up at 61,103. 61,103 to 69,13. 103 to 913. All right, so that's where our liquidations are intraday. So we'd like to see a sweep of those liquidations and then a move higher. It'd be good to see. Keep pop oop. Yep. Yep. Yeah, 16. Yeah, 69.13. Yep. Right at the bottom of the range. Which would be, I mean, that would be beautiful, right? That would be a dive below 2 standard deviations of EWAP. Because that's coming in almost synonymous with the 200 SMA here on the 15. So slight deviation down, scare everybody out. And then we basically take the short-term 15-minute trade to the upside. So let's set that alert. There we go. That alert. Less than. All right, so we have that alert set. It looks like we're going to go up and grab liquidations at 61,908. Yeah, 61,911, excuse me, give or take. That would be pretty synonymous here, getting that first level of liquidations. Upside liquidations aren't really significant until 62,767, so basically the top of our current range. Like all the way up here. And I think that's quite a move for price to get to. We shall see. All right. What else to talk about? Okay, so we've got our plan for BTC, and we obviously understand what we're doing on the higher time frames here. So let's go through, and I think we can pretty much skip Ethereum today. And let's just go through our copy trade pairs on the hourly and see if we can find any positions. Yeah, well, we can start off on the daily too. That's fine. All right, Solana on the daily, not bad. Solana had actually signaled for a swing long yesterday. All right, Solana had actually signaled for a swing long yesterday. Not really perfect because vol was relatively high, and we do have this signal as RSI is overbought. But this is essentially a breakout signal as well after a long period of consolidation, so I'm okay with it. We always kind of take that risk to trade to the upside here for Solana. So we will consider that. Arbitrum volatility is quite low right now, and we're not getting any clear signal right now, so no signal on Arbitrum. Optimism volatility is quite low, so we are set up to take the next signal, but we don't have a strong one. Looking at SUI, volatility is crushed right now, so again, we do want to take the next confirming signal, but TSI is pointing downwards, so we're not getting any long signals right now. Let's see here. Chain link, quite good. Volatility is crushed. We do want to take the next signal, but TSI is not giving us the long signal right now, so no trade on link. BNB, we have traded several times. We got the initial long signal over here. So we initially swung long on BNB here, held through, and then we didn't. Actually, we just closed this out yesterday. This would have been closed yesterday. So BNB, we were able to capture this entire movement on BNB. And now just moving on. Looking at Matic, again, very similar situation. Volatility crush here. And yes, long signal here. You see, I had previously pointed it out on the chart. And then holding this position all the way to this kind of death candle, closing out here. And then maybe entering here and getting, probably closing out almost immediately the next day. So entry here, small loss. And now flat on Matic, no signal on Matic. Ape, very similar to Matic, no signal. XRP, flat. Hold on a second, wait. Volatility crush. Expansion. We don't take the trade because we're below. So we sit out on all this. Back below. I apologize. We could have taken XRP long here. I had to sit through this pretty big wick. Might have even stopped us out. That was a bad one. And then so we're either stopped out on XRP or we are long. So actually XRP is valid to be long on here. Aptos, quite nice. What did we get? Swing long on this signal. So we were able to catch this pump. Volatility is redlined right now. Volatility is redlined. So feel free to take partial profits. What I usually like to do is if we get a redline signal prior to ATR, I'll take 20 to 30% of profits and still move my stop loss. But then I'll just keep the original take profit there at the original take profit level for either 20% or 30%, depending on what I decided to take on a red line. Cardano, quite a nice trade. PTP captured here and caught this movement, and then obviously we closed out here. And then Cardano gave a re-entry signal just a few days ago, so we are still long on Cardano. Dogecoin, as you guys know, beautiful. I was able to capture this long. Quite nice. This is all good. We could still be long on Dogecoin, of course. Meme coins did come back. I talked about this. I was very bullish on Dogecoin, as you guys know. And then we are redlined here, so feel free to take 20, 30% of profits if you haven't hit your TP1. Although, of course, we did hit our TP1. So we're still holding. We're still holding Dogecoin. Nothing to do here. Nothing to change. Polkadot. We could still be long on Polkadot. This is totally fine. We did get the EMA crossover here. And then actually exiting here and then re-entry here. So still long on Polkadot, re-entry signal. Uniswap, let's see here, exiting here. Unfortunately, the daily time frame was unable to capture this movement because the signal came on the pump and we don't enter on a red line. So again, I would recommend staying long on Uniswap for now. I mean, beautiful 54% weekly or daily movement. Bitcoin Cash has had a nice pump, but we don't mess with Bitcoin Cash. Filecoin on the daily time frame. Got the initial swing long signal here, carrying through, and then reset. We're now flat on Filecoin, capturing this movement right here. Axie Infinity, we are flat, or excuse me, not flat. Exited here, and then re-entry signal on Axie Infinity right here, so we could still be swing long on Axie Infinity. Maker USDT, price moving sideways, consolidation at our highs. No signal right now. Everything's very neutral, so no guidance on Maker. Ethereum Classic. Let's see here. Volatility reset right here. Swing long signal here. Holding through. RSI reset here. So we're taking a small profit. Re-entry immediately out. Small loss. And then Ethereum Classic gave the re-entry signal right here. So we could have entered. Oh, no, excuse me. It's actually one candle later. So here. So we're still long on Ethereum Classic. YFI. Let's see here. Gave the swing long signal here. And we're still long on YFI. We're redlining, so feel free to take 20, 30% of profits. Phantom. Phantom doing very well. Initial signal here. Exit. Re-entry signal. It's still long on Phantom. So we could still hold longs on Phantom. We haven't redlined. Didex, very similar. We could still be long. Oh, excuse me. No. Flat on Didex. EOS. Profits. Re-entered. You could still be long on Didex. V-Chain. Exit, re-entry. Didex, I would recommend, or excuse me, V-Chain, I would recommend taking profits and being flat on V-Chain. Sand, you could still continue to hold long. We are redline, so feel free to take 20, 30% profits. Mana, very similar. You could still hold the long, but we're redlining. I would recommend taking 20 to 30% of profits. Mask, I would recommend taking profits on. Lido, I would recommend taking profits on. Conflux, you could still hold long. Neo, we're about to redline, so I would recommend 20 to 30% of profits. Otherwise, you can continue to hold long. That is your altcoin rundown on the daily time frame. Now let's go down to the hourly and see if we can find any trades for today. All right. Let's see here. All right. We have been, you know what? That's another thing too. I got to get the mod vid set up so that, you know, so that fun clips can play and stuff like when I decide to take a break. We've been live for 47 minutes and 22 seconds. If you guys are enjoying the stream, feel free to help support us. You guys can become channel members if you are so inclined. But if you like the stream, it definitely helps. And I still got to get Nightbot set up so that we can do the chat commands and all those nice fun things. But life's pretty good. All right, so let's talk about Solana. Solana is bullish. All right, and we do kind of have that nice pullback setup right now. All right, on the hourly time frame. Pullback setup is closing below the hourly 21. So kind of setting up for that that pullback in a bullish environment setup. As you guys can see, you know, a very similar setup that we would have experienced. You guys can see the similarity in these two types of setups. Coming into that nice band, coming into that nice pullback zone in between our hourly 21 and our hourly 55, while things are in a bullish trend. So we do bid that up. We do bid that up. And wow, excuse me. How rude. All right. All right, we just got to make sure we get our taking 2% risk per trade. Our position size needs to be $1,783. Solana. $1,783. And our take profit is $134.82. And our stop loss is $125.63. And we're going to go long. All right. Got our Solana pullback trade on. All right. I like pullbacks. Pullbacks are a good strategy in a bull market. Now, what would have made this setup stronger and potentially made us take twice as much risk if the pullback would have occurred on a red line, okay, would be good. If the pullback occurred on while volatility was redlining, or if the pullback also occurred while our momentum oscillator reached oversold conditions. Those would be potentially things that would cause us to be more aggressive with our position sizing on Solana. But we are long on Solana. Let's carry on forward, looking for trades, looking for setups. Let's see here. Double bottom pullback to the 200 hourly SMA. Volatility did get quite low here, but the expansion was to the downside. Pretty convincing candle here. And again, this is just a similar kind of pullback buy. But the difference here is that Arbitrum is in a less clear uptrend. Certainly we are in an uptrend, but we've had a lot more volatility here. So I think I'm going to pass on Arbitrum for right now on any kind of pullback buy. Optimism as well. Again, we're just kind of in this big range. So we can see that the buy up zone has really been down back below here. So this is just a less clear chart. Let's see here. SUI similarly here. Volatility is getting pretty low. So we could safely take the next signal coming out of this range. But we are above our baseline and TSI is pointing down. So that's quite conflicting. I don't really see the opportunity here on SUI. Chainlink. Again, unfortunately, although I would like to trade Chainlink is looking quite similar to everything else. Well, let's see here. Volatility did get quite low. So we could take the next significant signal. TSI is crossing up. RSI is crossing up. So we do have the hourly swing trade there kind of setting up on Chainlink. What does that look like? Does that look remotely safe? Oh, we've got this all jacked up. And we're gonna come back to Chainlink because it does look attractive, but BNB, I think we can safely say no. Matic, I think we can also safely say no. Let's see here. Let's see here. Volatility crush, and now a little bit of expansion to the upside. I'm gonna say no on Matic. No. ApeCoin, no. Consolidation, not a big fan. XRP, we do have volatility crush right now, and TSI is not giving us the signal. So I would like to, let's see here, add alert on TSI. Crossing TSI signal line once per bar close. All right, so I set an alert for XRP if we do get a long signal, because this is kind of perfect, right? These are the setups that I really like to look for. All right, we are above the 200 SMA, so I'm biased to trade to the long side. We're trading in that nice kind of consolidation pocket between the 21 and the 55, where we see so many trends emerge from or pullbacks emerge from. And we have, basically everything. We've got, the RSI crossing up above the signal line. We've got volatility crush, so we know that the next move coming out of this is probably going to be quite big or worth trading. We just don't have the signal to trade to the long side yet, so we will keep our eyes on XRP. Aptos, Probably looks like we hit liquidations here. I do quite like Aptos here. And just consolidating at these lows and getting this push to the upside here. Nice. RSI is crossing back above. I like Aptos. Aptos is next to the Solana trade that I took, and I like trading Solana. Aptos is probably the next most attractive here. Let's see. Volatility reset, price push to the upside here on Cardano. No, just don't like it. Dogecoin, I'm doing beautifully. We could be swing longing Dogecoin here, but since I'm already long on Dogecoin, I'm going to skip on the hourly position here. Polkadot here too looks like a very nice pullback buy. Uniswap red line, so I would avoid. Bitcoin Cash, you could probably trade to the long side here. Filecoin, you trade to the long side here. You know, we got a nice volatility reset here. Price pulled back to the 200 SMA. You could just be more patient though and wait for a full signal. Let's see here, Axie Infinity. I mean, beautiful uptrend on Axie Infinity here, guys. We did red line here, so I'd like volatility to reset. Of course, we did red line here too as well. Volatility came down some, but yeah. Maker. You know, high or low, double bottom here below the 200 SMA. I do like Maker here. Not gonna lie, I do quite like Maker here. Yeah, I do like Maker here. Just do we grab liquidity is the question. Yeah, because I really like that volatility reset after the redlining. I like the bullish convergence on the RSI, like the bullish convergence on the TSI. And I think that's a realistic movement for Maker to make. So I think we I think we take the Maker trade. Maker trade is the most attractive right now. 5,200 on Maker. We are $100 position size on Maker. Stop loss at 2077. 50 and taking profit at 2179. All right, let's go. All right, took the long on Maker. I quite like that. Pullback buys are good. Pullback buys are good. All right, Ethereum Classic. Take profit system here. Ethereum Classic is quite good. We could trade Ethereum Classic to the long side. Looks like we are getting a signal right now too on this hourly close. So that would be confirmed in about, pull back, pop. That will confirm in about 18 minutes, but I think 2 long trades is good, right? I think we've taken enough risk. We don't need to be hungry for them. I do like this Ethereum Classic setup though. YFI also looks quite good. Volatility is quite low. We are breaking above out of this range. RSI is crossing above. TSI is crossing above. So I think YFI does look quite good to the long side as well. Let's see here. Phantom. I would probably avoid Phantom because volatility is right in the middle. And we're kind of in this quite volatile consolidation range. So no clear signal there. Didex, again, this is pretty nice. Double bottom, basically underneath, kind of grabbing liquidity underneath the 200 SMA. And now ideally finding support at the 200 SMA. We also see that volatility is crushed right now. And so we want to trade in kind of the big movement to the upside. And TSI and RSI are both pointing up right now. So YFI looks really good. CryptoMeister shorted GRT at 32.92. Close it or let it go more. All right, well, that's going to be entirely up to you, but I'll tell you what I would do. Shorted. So you shorted from 32.92. So you basically caught the top, you dirty dog. All right. I mean, listen, right? So GRT is bullish, right? We just had this nice big bullish breakout movement, and then we had a pullback, and we had a pretty nice pullback too. I mean, depending on how you want to measure your fibs, right? You know, you can either measure here, and that's looking like a 382. Yeah, that's looking like a 382. So price already did a 382 pullback. Okay. I don't know if GRT is going, I don't know if GRT is done with its run or whether it's gearing up for another move. But just looking here on the hourly, I mean, that's 3.88. So what you can always do whenever you're faced with this question, right? Because ideally when you're trading with a strategy, this question should really not come up because we built into the system how to deal with this question, right? Any question where you're like, man, should I take profit right now or should I close this trade or should I let it run? All right, well, that's built into the strategy because when we take the trade, we want to have a take profit target, right? And if we haven't hit the take profit target yet, we don't do anything. But in a situation where we're in a discretionary trade and we have, maybe, we haven't hit some guidelines or something is happening that is causing us to rethink this trade, what I always recommend people do is just take a little bit of profit, take anywhere from 20 to 50% of profits, move your stop loss to break even, and then you're good, right? If price comes up and taps your stop loss, you're going to have made some money because you took some profit. You're not going to make a ton of money, but you'll have made some money and it will be a successful trade. Trade's over. Okay. And if you should have held it open and if price just chunks down, well, you held the position open, right? But you were able to capture some profit, move your stop loss to a no loss situation, and just put yourself in peace of mind. And that's the most important thing when trading. Trading is technically like obviously learning how to trade, learning all the technicals, right? And like building a strategy, doing the grinding component of it, like, the back testing and the indicator selection and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that does take some time. The people who are really passionate about it can get it done within a couple of weeks to a month. The people who, are willing to dedicate like only an hour or so a day, it takes them like a month to 3 months, just depending on. But the as you get into trading, the difficult part is the emotional side, is the psychological side. So anything that we can do as traders, any processes that we can put, any processes that we can put into our trading system, into our trading, what's the word I'm looking for? If you have a good trading process that takes into account the psychological and emotional side, you will do well. I mean, like a lot of what I do, a lot of my education, a lot of my strategy is focused around solving for these emotional components, right? Putting the rules and the processes in place so that ideally I never get into a situation where I have to ask an emotional question or make an emotional decision. So I would take partial profits. I would move your stop loss to break even and then hope that the trade chunks down back here to the 200 SMA. And be okay with it if price comes up, taps your SL, right? That way you're good either way. You're good either way. But good job catching the top, man. That is great. That is great. How'd you do it? We want to know. We want to know. Give us your strategy. All right. Let's see what else we got going on here. We were looking for trades, but we're positioned. So, I mean, life's good. EOS. We could trade EOS to the long side here. We could trade V-Chain to the long side here. Volatility got crushed. Consolidation right in that nice pocket. And now break to the upside. TSI and RSI both pointing up. Trade V-Chain to the long side. And in fact, if there's any, like, well, no, I've said that about like 4 things right now. Sand or redlining, I would definitely be on the sidelines, taking profit on sand. Mana, same thing. I'd be taking profits on sand and waiting for probably a more drastic pullback now. I would say probably sand to 56.17. Mask, you could trade to the long side. Looks like it's breaking up. Lido, I would trade to the... Lido actually looks... but I've taken... Here's the thing. I do want to take this trade, but the problem is I've already taken 2 positions today, 2 hourly positions for the same setup, and those are pullback buys in a bull trend. So I don't want to overload my... I don't want to overload my trading account with... identical trades. If anything, I'd like an orthogonal trade. All right, so maybe a short. So when we look at something like sand, we redlined, but GRT, that pulled back, right? So basically, if I go short on sand here, I'm counter trading. Well, I'm taking the same trade as CryptoMeister is actually what I'd be doing. I would be speculating that prices are going to go much lower. And I don't, is there a really clear convincing reason to do so? I mean, RSI did peak and volatility did spike, right? So we did redline. And then we know those are scenarios in which we will get drastic pullbacks. Did we have some blow off top volume? We certainly did. And now declining volume on the way down. So declining volume is always bearish. Come on, yes to crypto. Like, hey man, listen, it's okay, right? I have made so many mistakes in my trading career. You know, I've gotten liquidated so many times. I've fat fingered several times. I have gotten rug pulled multiple times. It's all good, man. It's all good. And listen, I always leave a little bit of my account to make degen plays, right? Like this is crypto, right? Like, you know, I do a lot of degen DeFi trading, right, recently. And of course, just shout outs to Flimp on this, guys. And if you guys didn't know, you guys can come, obviously, well, not IS, right? This is not IS, but ASTX. Asterisk was really good. We recently traded asterisks. All right. And yeah, I bought here and here and 2x on this position, 250%. And then 1x on this, right? Or 63% on that one, right? So again, was able to more than double my money trading asterisks. I am now out. It could obviously pump up quite a bit more. That's totally fine. Let's see here. I'm also in Ondo Finance. Of course, this is part of my portfolio. Ondo's doing quite well. Layer AI is something I'm positioned in as well, right? Of course, it's just had this beautiful, huge pop. V-Chain, something, or excuse me, V-Token, something else that I'm currently accumulating right now, waiting for that kind of big move. But yeah, we've had some really nice degen DeFi trading. But again, the lesson here that I want to kind of impart is that over time, I have niched down and I've focused more on the technical side of my trading and really putting everything into place. And what I really prefer now is that consistent profitability, right? Like, you know, but before I was consistently profitable, I would always be hungry to catch a big move. Like I would be hungry for a 10x or a 20x or something like that. I would be actively hunting for those. And the act of actively hunting for them actually reduces the possibility that I'm going to get them because they tend to be quite random, honestly. And when I started focusing more on the process, putting good processes in place to get me more consistent trades, that's when the floodgates really opened and I started to make really good, consistent profits trading. When I niched down and said, okay, this is what I should be doing, and this is what I shouldn't be doing. But listen, man, just learn from your lessons. And you say, but here's the thing, right? You say lesson learned, and I hope so. And by the way, I'm not trying to pick you, dude. Pick on you, but write it down, okay? Write it down, all right? You know, writing down that affirmation, writing down that reminder, and then, you know, re-reviewing that on a consistent basis so that you actually do internalize the lesson, because a lesson learned one time is not a lesson learned that you will be able to carry through with you into the next scenario, right? We think it will be that way. We think we will remember, and we think that we will act differently. This happens. Just a very simple example, right? This often happens with people in relationships. They get heartbroken and they say to themselves, like in that moment, like, oh, I'm never going to make these mistakes again in my next relationship. And then they do, because they have that initial pain once and they think to themselves like, oh, I'm going to remember this lesson later. But they don't, right? They don't, because they haven't turned that lesson into a habit. They haven't habitualized it. They haven't made it a process. And so writing things down and, you know, journaling and returning to that on a consistent basis so that it actually gets incorporated into your mentality, so that it becomes habitualized and becomes a habit. That's how you learn from the lessons. But hey, man, don't sweat it, dude. We're all going to make mistakes, and that's all right. Yes, Tyler, banging the drums of stop loss and take profit. Ideal. Okay, Solana position up. Life's pretty good. Maker position down a little bit, but of course we just positioned and we're an hourly swing, so we might not get resolution on these for several days. It's totally fine. All is well, but we will leave these in the copy trade account. Not what we want. Not what we want. Okay, life's pretty good here. Let's take a look at some. Give me a second, guys. I'm going to log into Glassnode here. All right, and we are logged in. So let's see if we can figure out. Let's see if we can get any insights into. It didn't need to be said, man. So active addresses decline, but I'm not finding this as a very useful indicator. This is, of course, something that we've looked at many, many times, and this is new address momentum, this is quite interesting. So what does this tell us? New address momentum tells us how many new addresses are coming online into the Bitcoin ecosystem, onto the Bitcoin blockchain. And it's typically a very good gauge of how into the market retail is getting, right? And this has been a very good signal historically. As you guys can see, we just had this beautiful explosive growth basically up until 2018. And then as we enter the bear market, the way I have used this, and I talked about this a lot in more recent times, is that typically when new address momentum, or at least when the 30-day moving average, so the red line is the 30-day moving average of new addresses, and the blue line is the 365-day moving average. So when the red line crosses over the blue line, it's a bull signal, right? It indicates that new users are coming onto the network. They're coming onto the network because they're buying and spending coins. That is an indication that potentially early bullish signs are coming. We get this beautiful signal down here at the bottom, consolidation in 2019. And that did lead, of course, to this trade. We have some consolidation where price declines. And then the next massive movement away from it, of course, was the signal for the 2020 into 2021 bull market. And then we can see new address momentum goes back underneath and stays underneath, right? So this is just a bearish signal telling us to stay pretty much bearish this whole time. And then things get bullish again down here at the bottom of the market. In January of 2020, or excuse me, November of 2022 into early 2023, of course, signaling this bullish sign. We get a little bearish here, and then we're kind of back to the races here. We get a quick drop off in active addresses, and we're back to the races here. And then we just got that quick drop off again. So we are seeing new addresses start to dwindle down. And historically, again, that has kind of been an early top signal, right? We got over here, right? Notice that we got that at the last time we were at the peak of the market. And then, you know, again, things pulled back. So we are underneath the 365-day moving average, and we are not like rising up, even though prices are moving up. So again, potentially an early warning sign right here, potentially an early divergence warning sign that perhaps the rally is coming kind of close to an end here. The new address momentum is telling us. Number of addresses with a non-zero balance has kind of petered off here. That's totally fine. UTX set growth is looking healthy. Relative activity of small and large entities. Let's zoom into this. I think this could tell us quite a bit. Obviously, when we start to see lots and lots of whales take profit, that is a very strong warning sign. So what do we have here? So we have the blue line is the mean, or excuse me, the median of small address activity. And the red line is the mean of the large entities activity. So again, let's see when we see massive spikes in large entity activity. And interestingly enough, of course, we see large spikes in large entity activity at tops, and it seems on pullbacks, right? So we can see a lot of large entity activity right here at this market top, a lot of market activity here at this market top, here on this kind of pullback and potential market top. I think a lot of people tried to sell off here at the 46,000. It just seems very logical. Or actually, if we zoom in more, we can see that no, they held. And then once price started to move down, they're like all sold in droves. So that's quite interesting. Then, of course, a spike here, and here. So we have had a spike in large entity activity. All right. We've had a spike in large entity activity. And again, those usually come in at pullbacks and local tops. Of course, in a very strong bull market, those local tops can just go on to create another local top, but just something for us to be aware of here. Number of transactions is kind of sideways. Transaction count momentum kind of pulling back. Total transfer volume adjusted. I'm not really seeing anything valuable there. Transfer volume momentum. Exchange volume momentum is looking very healthy, very bullish. This is something that we've talked about a lot. Let's see here. Had a huge spike in transaction fees. Those have come down now. Miner revenue from fees. It's actually pretty low. We had a huge spike there, and now they've really come down. So we are back into, like, I've never really... That is quite interesting. Thank you, Philly. This is quite interesting. When have we seen this? We've never really seen this in previous markets, except for when prices pulled back and miners started losing money on this big pullback. But we've seen it this time, like many times, which is quite interesting. The miner profitability dropped down into the into unprofitability. Very interesting. All right. Let's see. Navigating market tops and bottoms. I know you're on a totally different site, but my daily strat is built around on-chain trading view indicators, hash ribbons, and NVT. Those are really good. They're really good. Tic Tac says, do you think we correct lower than the wick we put in yesterday? 8%. Do I think we correct lower than the wick we put in yesterday? I mean, well, yes, certainly if price is not going to continue charging. Now, I mean, we do have multiple examples of Bitcoin continuing on or having a mild kind of sideways bull flag consolidation after redlining, but it's relatively rare. You know, again, I'm not interested in shorting top, so I'm not saying that we are going to reverse here, but yeah, almost certainly we come. I mean, almost certainly, if we're going to make another more dramatic move up, I would be very surprised if we don't come down here. Why? Because there's liquidations here, right? So if price is going to continue on sideways, it will move sideways in consolidation, and we'll probably see multiple stabs down to grab liquidations. If there weren't futures markets, that probably wouldn't happen, but futures is larger than spot markets, and so I mean, I almost never see a rally in which we don't grab liquidation before making the next move up. So, I mean, almost certainly. So, you know, if we're taking longs here, I wouldn't be setting my stop loss anywhere around here, down here, likely. But, I mean, the only thing we're holding for BTC is the weekly swing long, and the daily swing long. But we're redlining, so we're starting to peel off profits and move our stop loss into take profit or into profit. So right now, nothing needs done. Nothing needs done. 4 hour, we're also flat. And then on the hourly, we're actually going to be considering potentially shorting, but that's not super attractive. And we just long some alts. So just long some alts. Maker and Solana. Something is coming down. BTC USDT on Binance. BTC USD perp on Binance. Is funding coming down? Yeah. Yes. Funding is coming down a little bit. Big spike in funding here. Funding is coming down. So yeah, a little less greed. I shall not counter trade the macro. I'm actually right, traders. Yeah, we have the cardinal. I don't think counter trading the macro is in the cardinal sense of trading though. Does CoinAlyze have liquidations? But yeah, that's right. We have the liquidations profile visible range. That's right. I forgot all about that. This thing is crack. This thing is very nice. Y'all see our liquidations. I have yet to actually trade with this though, right? I prefer, you know, I've gotten quite accustomed to using the CoinGlass methodology. So I haven't used this on Coinalyze. This is also free. And you know, very, very nice. I do like the way this is visually presented. And let's just see like, hey, you know, if price is going to grab liquidity, it's going to be grabbing it up here. If price is going to grab downside liquidity, it's going to grab it here. We can see where the cutoffs for support and resistance end. But it's just not that simple, right? Like, do you want to be entering positions, right? Do you want to be fading these breakouts, or do you want to be longing these breakdowns? You know what I mean? Yeah, revenge trading is definitely on there. So even, you know, even with perfect data, and this is why, like, classically, right? Like, you know, I think a lot of people in, like, back when we were trading traditional markets, like, you know, one thing I would commonly hear is people be like, well, if you want to day trade like traditional markets, you gotta have a Bloomberg terminal, right? Like, sure, that stuff is helpful, right? But if you could have all the data in the world, but if you don't have a process for properly utilizing it and making decisions, then it's just garbage. Yeah, I mean, I know that we're able to do more on TradingView now, but I haven't experimented with attempting to plot out the liquidations like that visually on the chart. I think it'd be beautiful. I'd love to see something like the VWAP, you know, with 2 standard deviations. I'd really like to see something like that. Like a visual indicator like that. Not like VPVR. Like, that's fine and everything, but I would want it to live on my chart, not on the right or left-hand side, but literally on the chart, like in line with the price. Like very much like the Bollinger Bands or like VWAP, just visually how it's presented. I think that would be the best. I think that would be the best. All right, guys. We've been live for an hour and 30 minutes. I'm going to take a quick couple of minute break, and then we'll come in and crash out the last 30 minutes. Of course, if we do hit the member goal, we will extend the stream by half an hour. Oh my God. Thank you so much. All right, guys. I will be right back. Tyler, you're in charge. Don't do anything funny while I'm gone. coming, guys. I'm cooking. Cooking. Okay. All right. Whew. Needed that. Okay. All right. So as we can see, intraday here so far, just the pullback to the 15-minute 200 SMA was actually a pretty good entry. Kind of classic here. So nice diagonal uptrend. We do have obviously stiff resistance. This is the daily point of control, where you can see that we did blast through that liquidation zone. But it was just a minor one, right? Remember, we plotted that one out. Let's refresh now. We can see that we can see we grabbed these liquidations. Overhead liquidations at, 62,292. Wow, 62,292 to 62,339. And that, oh my gosh, I smashed a sandwich real quick. Like, it was the fastest I've ever eaten a sandwich. I was so hungry. But our significant liquidations don't start till 62,624, and they're pretty bulky. 62,624 up to 62,814. I would expect, obviously if we make it up there, I would expect reversal, because I don't think we've consolidated here long enough before another, significant move up. We will of course see deviations outside of the range, because price will just hunt liquidity up and down until we decide to break and make a big move, and that's just the way that it is. All right, that is strategy in a nutshell, guys. All right, higher time frames, we want to focus on those big moves so we catch those big trends, because they're going to be the majority of our profits, and it is ultimately the easiest and stress-free way to trade that I've ever discovered. This is why I've really made it my life's purpose to teach people how to do it this way. But when we're in a consolidation range, understand that these consolidation ranges need to take, they tend to take some time, and how long they take is generally directly related to how powerful of a movement previously coming up into that zone was. Okay, so I don't think that we've really consolidated here long enough to really get a breakout. So we'll probably be fading breakouts intraday and fading breakdowns intraday for the next several days. Potentially, we'll see how next week kind of plays out. Hobby. All right, you get the maker, you get the sand. Are looking for this to be more significant support here. We shall see. We just bought pullbacks. Got more commandments? Thou shalt take profits. I mean, that's a good one, right? Like forcing the strategy, you know? It's always a good one. Okay. Let's see, what do we got going on Twitter? I mean, everybody just, you know, everybody just kind of rapidly promoting altcoin season. I'm not going to lie. I do want to check in with, obviously Ondo's done very well for us, so this is fine. But what I'm interested in is Heroes of Mavia. I really would like to get a position in the Heroes of Mavia. Because Heroes of Mavia is now building on base chain. Binance invested in Mavia for their seed funding. And now they're developing on base from Coinbase. So making some moves. And we just had a big sell volume come in. And bears weren't really unable, were not really able to push it down significantly more. And look at that sell candle. I mean, that's big volume, but price like barely moved. Price barely moved. So I do think, I don't think I can get it on base though. That would be cheaper. Can I get it on base? I feel like this is not it. I feel like that's a scam pair. And I know that's a scam pair. So actually, no, I don't think that I actually can. I don't actually think that I can. But I want exposure. And I do think that now is probably not too bad. Where is my... There it is. Let's see. I got like $4,500 just sitting in my MetaMask right now. So I think we just DCA. I know like fees are going to be expensive, but I think we just get a little starter position in Heroes of Mavia. So we'll buy like $500 worth. Okay. Trade on Uniswap, Cyberswap. Trade WETH for it. 21.5. Okay, cool. Not bad. $40 in gas fee. Gotta love it, man. I love it. Yeah, you gotta spend money to make money, though. I'll tell you what. Oh. All right, so we're gonna get 92.3365. $5.5383. Cost basis $513.20. Fees were we already paid $14.24 plus 24 plus what the gas fee is going to be. So $56 in fees, give or take. We'll swap. Yeah, base is good. Alex Becker is posting crypto stuff again. It's a reliable top signal. Ah! Right. So I'm not aping in. I'm just getting a starter position. You know, I'll plan to accumulate, you know, on the way down if we go down that way. And then I can accumulate on the way up if we do end up having something of a local bottom here. All well and good. All well and good. I made a lot of money off Axie and Axie Infinity. Well, no, that was Axie and AXS. And then I can't remember what their other token was. Like their in-game token. And then I made a lot of money flipping those NFTs, little birds or whatever. But maybe it will be the next Axie Infinity. Worth a shot. Tell you what, it's always worth a shot. Yeah, getting the pullback to the hourly 55 now does seem less likely, of course, because that's where the liquidations were. Are we getting the hourly swing long signal yet? No. I don't think we're going. I really don't think we're going to. Yeah, I actually don't think we're going to. That seems less likely now. That does seem less likely now. Thank you, mate, for the subscription. I appreciate that. All right, guys, I think it's time for us to wrap the stream up for today. So that's what we're going to do. All right. All right, let's talk. Make sure, yeah, you guys can't hear the music here. Thank you guys so much for joining me for another live stream. I apologize for the lack of streams this week. Had a crazy week. Next week, we're going to be back on track. Regular streams every single day. Nice in the mornings, catching these big morning moves. As always, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them down below in the comment section. I will address them as soon as I can at my earliest convenience. If you want to support what we're doing, feel free to become a channel member. That you get some great, incredible perks, or just like the video. Helps get us out there. It really does help out a lot. If you guys would like to work directly with me and my team to build and develop your own trading strategy, to never have to second guess your decisions, to remove as much discretion from your trading as possible, and to finally achieve long-term results, you guys can check out everything that we do at crackingcryptocurrency.com. You can also come and copy trade me over on Fairdesk if you prefer that avenue as well. I will be back on Monday, probably around 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And I will see you guys then. As always, trade safely. And remember, risk management and emotional discipline are responsible for paying the bills. Doesn't matter what you trade. It matters how you trade. All right, guys. I'll see you. Be good to each other.